This is Massive, the world's largest cruiserweight, and you're watching and listening to Countdown City WrestleCast. I'm out.
What's up, heels and baby faces? Welcome to another episode of the Countdown City WrestleCast, our 5-year and 1 week anniversary episode. I'm your host, JC. Joining me this week is Tommy.
Hello.
And we got Mike.
What's up, guys? We are racing down the tracks here in 2023. That rhymes with the letter C, man. I don't know.
Actually, Mike, would you mind if I throw one in?
Yeah, go for it.
It's 2023. Santana and Ortiz are back, baby!
I will accept that, man. Look,
Sorry.
let me just throw this in that 2022 Electric Boogaloo, much easier than trying to find a rhyme for 3. And I thought I was going good for a while, but I don't know, man.
I mean, it's hard. You got halfway. We're halfway through the year.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you something. That's what every writer has to deal with. Wow, that first one really worked. After that, man.
Yeah.
Dude, I found out because one of my coworkers goes to UTSA. They have a poetry class now. I'm like, what the hell? The one class I know I could have gotten an A in, and they offer it after I graduated like 10 years later. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've been mad about that all day.
Life works.
Oh, believe me, when they start teaching esports 101, I'll be really upset that I couldn't major in that. So,
but dude, that could have been the easiest A of my entire life. I was so mad when she told me. I was like, what?
John, what is up? Yes, if you're joining us
John?
live, buddy of mine, fellow softball dad, if you will. He's
nice.
working out there. So thanks for joining us. If you're watching us live, feel free to live chat along with us. We are going to spend some time today talking all about AEW All In. We'll talk a bit about Impact Emergence. We'll also recap a couple of the shows from this past weekend, including one that we attended at the Hybrid School of Wrestling.
Yes.
Little fun fact for you guys. I know that last week was our 5-year anniversary show, which, by the way, that very first episode we talked about SummerSlam. And the very next pay-per-view we talked about was the original All In.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Think about that, Tommy.
I did not even realize that.
Yeah.
Really didn't.
The second show we ever talked about was the original
All In was the same year we started.
Yes,
I really
it was.
didn't.
It really
Holy
was.
crap, we've been doing this a while.
Crazy, right?
Kind of hard to believe this is only the second All In, but the first under the AEW umbrella. Pretty
Yeah.
amazing, huh?
Mhm.
So,
And in an ironic twist, everyone got mad because ROH really foot the bill for that show and got no recognition. And now they kind of are.
they footed the bill. It was on their it was technically a Ring of Honor on their library, and that's part of the reason why AEW couldn't use All In until they bought Ring of Honor. So here we go. So what is up, everyone? We're seeing all the comments.
Jason, we see your shout out.
Yeah.
We're about to get there.
Yeah.
Birdsey.
Now, obviously, we'll start with a bit of wrestling news and one that just hit today. And you're getting old with some of the wrestling legends you watch are passing. And today was the passing of Terry Funk, the hardcore legend. 79 years old. Is that correct?
79, yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of the, it's as much as that guy has been through, it was just amazing to see him still walking around. I got to be honest with you. And I don't know the news on why, how he passed. I don't know if it might have just been. Hopefully, it was something peaceful. I haven't seen any news on that. But
I haven't either.
I think. Well, hold on, because I'm looking for Mick Foley's post because he talked about it.
Yeah, I was curious what Mick said. Let me find out. So
hold on. Well, keep going. I'm gonna look for it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Mike, go ahead.
Let me say this real quick because I've had to say this now twice in this last week, basically, and I don't mean it as an insult. I mean this with complete love. But that dude, much like Ricky Morton, was also old and pretty much a legend when I was still a kid.
Yeah.
So like even growing up in the 80s and 90s, he was already kind of a big name and had a big part of his career already. And his thing was he just kept going and coming back to ECW and showing up at indies and just like never. I mean, he was old, but like he just kept doing crazy stuff. And You want to read it real
Yeah,
quick?
I'll read it. Mick Foley posted this about 3:26 p.m. Central Time. Terry Funk is gone. I just talked to Terry's daughter, Brandy, who gave me the awful news. He was my mentor, my idol, one of the closest friends. He was the greatest wrestler I ever saw. If you get a chance, look up a Terry Funk match or a Terry Funk promo and give thanks that this incredible man gave so much for so long to so many. There will never be another like him. May God bless Terry, his friends, family, and all who loved him. Rest in peace, my dear friend. It was an honor to know you. Hashtag RIP Terry Funk.
Yeah.
Um, you know, for the legendary career that Mick had, and yes, we could talk about the faces of Foley, the Rocket Sock connection. But in my mind, whenever I thought of Mick Foley, I always thought of Terry Funk because I feel like it went hand in hand so much. Uh, I mean, who remembers when Terry Funk was in WWF at the time as Chainsaw Charlie? Like that tag team that they ran together with the New Age Outlaws before they were even a DX New Age Outlaws, you know? Um,
Mm-hmm.
just that I think there was a Royal Rumble. They started off against each other, just beat the crap out of each other. And that was just,
Yeah.
amazing. So,
And I think Foley, I mean, he kind of did, but he'll tell you the exact same thing.
yeah.
What he meant, obviously in this post and what he meant to his career. And just kind of on a side note to attach to that, one day we're going to have to talk about, especially for the time, what an amazing thing Foley's book was to really let us behind the curtain of some of these things.
Yeah.
Because even at that time that it came out, the internet was kind of starting to be a thing, but being able to read, his experience and as someone who remembers him as far back as like the Texas stuff, NWA, WCW, Cactus Jack stuff,
Yeah.
like that book was really influential to me for a long time. And I think kind of in the world of getting, opening the curtain was really a big part of that. And he never had anything but good things to say about Terry Funk. And it's funny because you don't really think of him having watched him, but apparently he was just like the nicest, gentlest old man.
Yeah.
And Foley said, he was almost like a uncle, grandpa, like back then. So,
But always the professional too. Like,
Yeah.
you think back on that Hell in a Cell match that is obviously Mick is famous for, the Mankind
Right.
Undertaker one, and it's been reported now that point where he took the chokeslam through the top of the cage into the ring. It wasn't supposed to happen that way.
Yep.
He does everything after that. I mean, people were rushing in to check on Mick to make sure he was okay. And obviously that wasn't planned, so they were ad-libbing a lot of that. And Terry was just his friend in the back coming to check on his friend, and like probably checking on him because he was worried about him.
Yeah, he was.
And
Yeah,
then
definitely.
Taker, I mean, the match is still going on technically, and Taker just calls it right there, hits him, and Terry's already selling for him. Like, okay, the show must go on. So,
well,
it's one of those things.
Yeah, the video that they've posted recently of Taker and Foley watching that match, they said like I think like Taker like whispered to Funk like make sure he's okay or like check if he I think so like check if he's still alive or something like that. And when like that was like one of the things like Funk was yelling was like surreptitiously was like yeah he's fine and like that was just like you said that was just them stalling until Mick could like kind of get his bearings back to continue the match. I mean because Foley didn't want to stop. He was on autopilot at that point. So,
yeah, I mean he separated his shoulder on the fall from the top of the cage and still climbed back up there.
Yeah.
Like it's insane.
One of my favorite stories is if you guys ever watched the Rise and Fall of ECW DVD, there's a couple. They're talking about the main event of Barely Legal, and like how Terry Funk felt like he didn't belong there, or like he was too old to do it, and how Steven Richards was like kind of like saying he didn't belong there, and Terry Funk like encouraged him and all that kind of stuff, and Paul Heyman talked about what it meant to see Terry Funk win at the end of the pay-per-view. It just felt like they had really arrived when he did it, So I was like, oh my god, that's like all that came to my mind today when I read that because now I just want to go watch that Rise and Fall VCW DVD again. And I think I actually found the actual Barely Legal DVD at like Movie Exchange one time. It was like $50, and I bought it. I didn't care.
Nice.
I was like, this is the original DVD. Yeah, it's 50. Yeah. I don't care what the price.
It's probably on the network now too. I would imagine since they own the library.
Well, since I don't have.
Yeah, but probably heavily edited.
Yeah, but since I don't. Yeah, exactly. And since I don't have that, and I wanted the uncut version, I was like, so this will be 50. That I didn't didn't ask you all that. Here,
Yeah,
or
look,
another
throwing it
wrestling
out
fan
there.
runs in here and grabs
When the first ECW One Night Stand aired, like I found a copy of it online. I have it. So when Enter Sandman's playing, I'm hearing that like it was on the live pay-per-view. But when you buy the
Yeah.
DVD or watch it later on,
It's some
there's some
generic
generic chord
ripoff.
because they didn't have the rights to it. So hey, I got
Yeah.
the original version with Enter Sandman, and Sandman's entrance makes much more sense. But regarding Terry Funk, rest in peace. This is a legend, and it's I feel for his family, friends. All our best wishes to them. And one of the questions I always ask whenever I do an interview is, "What do you want your legacy in wrestling to be?" And I always love to hear the answers. What do people think? And I don't know what Terry's answer would have been, but I think he'd be proud of the legacy he left on the wrestling world. So.
I feel like he was such a humble guy. I think he probably wouldn't even realize the legacy he left behind.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw on one of Homicide's social media. I think the guys were ribbing him, but they called Terry Funk for him and like handed him the phone because Terry Funk wanted to talk to him. So
Yeah.
it was like I was like, I think I don't even know if Terry Funk realized the influence he had, man. Because every hardcore
Homicide,
American,
he's one of Homicide's favorites.
Yeah,
Homicide's
for sure.
always
Oh
told
yeah,
me Terry's one of his favorites. Yeah.
So going with that and with Sean's comment here, I don't think he gets enough credit for being mentioned in that top tier of all-time performers. Like when you really look back at what he did, I know most of probably his biggest time was NWA, some of that stuff, and then kind of his resurgence in ECW. But he faced all, pretty much all the greats. I bet you somewhere, maybe in a Japan AWA thing, he probably faced Hogan too when he was younger, I'm sure. He just, went through everything. And then, you were talking about like Homicide and Foley, but I really loved seeing some of the local and the Texas people we've seen over the years, or people we've seen through Texas, doing the same thing. Like Machi had a post about getting to meet him at a show and being on a card with him. Portia Perez, who hasn't wrestled for forever, but apparently was involved in a hardcore match with him.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, and like that's got to be something you tell your your grandkids and share about your
That's
life
something
too,
that you have tattooed on your arm. If I don't care, I would. It's like to
Yeah.
wrestle a match where Terry Funk was just there. I was like, he was present. I would tattoo that on
Yeah.
my arm.
But I think like y'all said earlier about his legacy is it's that like everyone's saying great things about him. I've never heard like,
Exactly.
oh man, Terry Funk was a jerk and treated me like crap, and maybe it happened, but I've never heard it, to be honest with you.
Look, the people who have that story, Terry found them later like, hey, I think I was mad that day, and I really want to apologize for what I
It
said.
does really sound,
and then they were like, they start crying. Hey man, you want a beer? I'm gonna get you a beer. I'm sorry, I thought bad things about you, Terry. So,
Great impression of Terry, by the way, there, Tom. So,
it really is.
yeah, sorry. So
Right.
I watch a lot of wrestling.
all right. Rest in peace, Terry
we
Funk. Thank
Rest
you
in
for all
peace,
the
Terry
memories.
Funk.
Thank you for all your
Jeez.
influence. And
That made today
missed.
rough, man. That
Yeah.
made today so rough. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, even his time in Hollywood too.
Yep.
Yeah. And real quick before we move on, I think he doesn't get enough credit for just being a good wrestler. I really
Yes.
don't. Like, he's one of the greatest performers yet, but he was actually a really good wrestler, guys. If you watch some of those old matches, it's like you think he's just hardcore. And while that's true, he just could really, really wrestle. He was really good.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about a show that we attended this past weekend, guys.
Yes.
Hybrid Experience Rockin' and Rollin'. We're going to talk briefly through this because we have a lot to get to today. But what match or matches stood out most to you guys on this one? And I'll start with Mike on this.
There are probably a couple. Casey Blackrose's match with Joe Alonzo was pretty good. Of course, Izzy's second match in her tag team with David Kidd versus Stet Stash, and Calientita making her debut.
Yeah.
On a random side note, I'd just like to throw this out. I don't know if they're watching. I should probably message them. I uploaded 4 of the entrances I got from my phone from that show onto our WrestleCast Instagram. So I got Izzy and David Kidd's entrance, Casey Blackrose's entrance, Brandon Vice's entrance, and then Stud Stash and Caliente. Stud Stash and Caliente's, the number of plays it has, like almost doubles anyone else, which I think is awesome, but like
surprising.
yeah, a little bit. But yeah, but
I gotta shout out Joe Alonso real quick too, because apparently the people in the front row giving him shit were Caliente's friends, because she posted that on her Instagram, and man, God, great job on the mic. It's just like, your dad is ashamed of you. Like, wow.
Yo, that was probably like the safest burn he could do.
Yeah.
And it was just like, what can you say to that?
But yeah, it was fun too. What else stood out for you, Mike?
I mean the tag team match.
Yeah.
H2 Easy, this version of the multiverse. Okay, can we tell this story? Because Tommy knows what I'm talking about. JC, you might not know as much. So that little girl that was sitting next to y'all,
Aiden,
is like, the huge MPW fan. She's the one that, if you've seen the video when Jasmine attacks Izzy, like goes up and hugs her, and just makes that like the perfect video, for Izzy and for that. And then she's also the one who at the show a couple weeks ago, when Izzy made her match and lost to Jasmine rips her sign up at the end of the show, and she starts bawling, and Izzy has to go console her afterwards. So because Izzy was going to be there, I think it was her mom and whoever brought her, and they were sitting next to y'all. I don't know if you heard the conversation, but she saw JP and Hyder there. She knows them from MPW. JP is really good because she always sits right there at the entrance corner, of like pretending like he's yelling at her, and then when she goes back at him, he'll like back up and like but he'll like kind of jaw with her. She was confused as to why Hyder and JP were not quite as
hated,
devious as hated.
Well,
and I was laughing. I had to tell him, I was like, yeah, they're not really that evil here. It's weird. We don't get it either.
You can tell it off too. It's like, well, because MPW is sexist towards men, that's why they're there. Just kind of keep it in character.
You want to go that deep.
Yeah, it's keep it in that character. So.
But yeah, their tag team with Zakai and Devin was like just really good matches all the way across. I mean, again, such great talent through all these shows. The multiverse,
I was happy to see the Treats wrestle again, and
I never a dull moment.
My first interview I did for the show was Chris Marvel, and then before the pandemic, I had got an interview with Don Juan. And if you go back and watch that interview, he had kind of teased maybe a little bit that they were going to be getting back together. I forget who they said they're going to wrestle, but they were starting to gear up for it. I was going to be reaching out, trying to work on getting an interview with the two of them together. Texas Treat Road stories that they wouldn't mind telling on public, right? But that was always the part two. And I was finally getting to see them. Then the pandemic hit, everything else going on. Getting to see them wrestle live together was pretty awesome. And Don Juan as a heel, still great. But I gotta say, okay, I have seen many a gender reveal online. I have seen gender reveal match in someone's backyard, them set that up. I've seen that. Never seen it done within a wrestling promotion. Congrats to Hybrid Pull Up, because when this group of people walked in, because where we were sitting, we could see people walking.
We were all confused
we were like,
too.
Who are these people? Like, man, these people made it a family affair. Then guy came out with a football referee jersey, and then I was like, oh, they're recording a gender reveal, and the finish was pretty well booked, I gotta say.
I can't lie. I had more fun watching that than I thought I would.
Yeah.
That was it.
I forget the referee's name, but congratulations. Yes. I don't know if this is baby number one for y'all, but being a girl dad, enjoy it, man. It is a blessing, let me tell you. So yeah. It's like, what the hell? Yeah.
That was one of the more unique things I've seen at a wrestling show.
But yeah, Black Rose, Joe Alonso was great. Izzy getting her first W. Pretty awesome.
I was kind of unexpected, but I thought that was cool.
Yeah. And seeing Stud Stash wrestle for the first time,
he is really good.
He is.
Yeah.
He enjoys it.
Like with his size and character, he needs to be an enforcer for someone on a TV show, man.
Getting to talk
Like,
to
he
him
is good.
afterward, he was excited to see us there because we didn't tell him we were coming,
Yeah.
and he was just so happy to see us, and he's enjoying it. He's enjoying it. He's
Yeah,
like,
he's really
he
good.
says, I know I got started late in age, but I'm just loving it. I was like, yeah, just enjoy it, man.
Awesome.
Tommy, what about you? What stood out to you guys or to you?
Just the main event, man, because freaking Ricky Morton, dude. I know I know he's up there in age, but you can't tell me he's not having the time of his life whenever he gets in there, man. I know that the term "born to do this" really does get thrown around, but he's one of the people who's just born to do this, man.
Yeah.
And he's still so passionate about it. Like you could hear when he was talking, just he's putting over the entire promotion, like everyone in the back, saying you never know who you could see on TV in like a year. He puts over San Antonio, and puts over Chase and everything. It was so cool. And just to see him out there, and I know, Marvel and Don Juan were having the freaking time of their lives. I don't care how much they tried to hide it as heels in that match. They were geeking out the entire time.
For sure.
Tommy, should we do our Chris Marvel impressions?
Yes. Hold on.
This is Chris Marvel getting upset. This is Chris Marvel getting excited. This is Chris Marvel getting the upper advantage on his opponent.
This is Chris Marvel when the night went well.
Yeah.
But we're glad you got to see it, and we're glad because I think the last show he didn't, but Don Juan has lost his cargo shorts just about every hybrid and RCW show.
Yeah.
And I've been to for a while, and the pink ones with J-Wave and Marvel on there.
And Marvel's reaction to the ref looking at him like, "Well, he's a fan,"
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. They're just.
It's my favorite running joke in wrestling, and I don't care. I don't care how many times he does it. I'm gonna laugh every time. He's found a guaranteed way to make me laugh every single time. It's like it's so stupid.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because it's just Don Juan. He sells it well every single time. So.
Good job to everyone at the Hybrid School of Wrestling. The Hybrid Experience was great. The heat wasn't too bad for me, but then again, I'm used to being outside in the heat, so it was like, yeah.
They started a little bit later too, so that
helped.
That helped a little bit.
Did they announce when the next show was for Hybrid Experience?
No.
Okay.
But I have a feeling it might not be till toward the end of September.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because September 9th, there's a BOW show. September 16th, there's an RCW show. I don't know if we switched those on the graphic show.
Yes, I did. So I was actually happy and post that. So here we go.
Excellent.
Yes.
So, so I have a feeling if they do, it won't be till maybe that 20, what would that be, the 23rd?
My calendar here. It's 23rd or the 30th.
Yeah.
Or if they do it on Fridays again, it might be the 22nd or 29th. So.
Oh, that's true. That was also kind of odd since most of them have been on Saturday, but.
Yeah.
Well, it's because they had the Uncanny show the following day.
Oh, that's trying to bug
because they posted pictures from that one up in Austin.
Did you see Sakai versus Woe?
Yes. If I had known that had been happening, I might have tried to schedule time to get up there for that because that looked hilarious.
Well, on the horizon locally, BOW September 9th, RCW September 16th, and October 21st, Mission Pro Wrestling, which is also the same weekend as another RCW show, which will be on the 22nd of October.
And yeah, that's going to be, and that's also SmackDown in San Antonio. I think we talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy, I don't remember if we announced this on the show last week, but I'm going to announce it again because we're super hyped for it. Black Swan is coming back to Mission Pro, and she answered JP's open casket match for that.
Yes.
So the first official match announced for that was JP versus Black Swan in the casket match. And we are super hyped for that.
Maybe she can bury him once and for all. I'll bring a shovel.
I doubt it. All right.
He wore a Texans jersey. I think you.
If he's wearing a Texas jersey, he's burying himself.
He wore a Texas jersey. That's why he lost in the first.
Exactly. If he wears a Texas jersey, he's burying himself. That's easy. He's already halfway in the casket wearing that shit. All right. There was another show that happened this weekend. Didn't get to see it, but I just briefly go through some results here. Anything and that, of course, was New Japan and Impact's co-promoted show, Multiverse United 2. Just a few things that stood out. Trey Miguel, Leo Rush defeating Takahashi and Mike Bailey. Alex Shelley retained over Tanahashi. Other title matches that were there. Julia retained the Strong Women's Championship. Kenny King retained the Impact Digital Media Championship. Chris Sabin won that big scramble. I don't know if your dice would have flown
Totally
that way.
who I would have guessed, yeah.
The Bullet Club defeated the World. A huge 12-man tag team match, and Bullet Club came out on top of that
You
one.
know what I love about that match?
What's
Half
that?
of everyone in that match was coming off of wrestling for about 2 weeks straight, and they were
Yeah.
like, "Oh my, that's why it was a 12-man tag." Oh, thank God! I'm so tired. I'm so tired. I don't want to wrestle anymore.
Still need clarification on where Impact Bullet Club relates to Bullet Club Black and Gold, which relates to the Elite, which relates to the OC and the club.
Bullet Club Wolfpack, all that stuff.
I just want a
Black and
giant. I
white.
want a giant super show called Bullet Club Civil War, where all promotions just set everything aside and let everyone
No.
who claims it's Bullet Club get in there and settle.
It's
this
gonna
one.
be
I'd be
Bullet
down with
Club
that.
sold out. The NWO sold out
Okay.
thing.
I'm cool with that too, but under one condition: Judgment Day has to be in it because of
All
Finn
right.
Balor.
I mean, hey, anything can happen, right? So, do need to go back and watch this show, but
I do too.
But this is kind of I wanted to mention it because it is a bit of a short turnaround, at least for the Impact talent, because they have a show coming up this weekend as well on Impact Plus, and so,
Yeah.
and some of those matches lined up for that we could see some title changes. We'll see. So, but let's get into the show we all want to talk about. We all have been looking forward to the one that has been hugely hyped up since it was announced. AEW All In London, baby. Wembley Stadium, the legendary Wembley Stadium. I have never seen a wrestling show where you get weekly updates on how many tickets have been sold in a
Yeah.
long time, and I
Yeah.
don't think, I can't recall ever. But this one has already surpassed paid attendance for any WWE show in history, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so.
Yeah. And real quick, JC, in response to your message, Bernsey, yes, I didn't reply to you because it's been a crazy week, but I got you. We're gonna work it out. And
Are we getting Burnsy to Mission
yes,
Pro?
he here's what he asked me. He asked if I could get him a ticket, and he'll pay me back. But look, you get down here, we got you. So you
All right.
Nice.
yeah. So
Burnsy, we get to meet another
yeah,
person.
We're gonna get
Very
Bernsey down
cool.
here finally.
Very cool.
And he's coming on the show where hopefully JP Harlow will be buried. Anyway, sorry, I'm too excited about that.
Depends what jersey he comes. Like seriously, we pick that show and be like, look, depending on the jersey he comes out with.
When I walked out with that, I was like, "What are you doing? That's like the worst possible jersey you could be wearing right now."
I was like, oh no, the one we finally get JC2 and it's a Texas
I know.
jersey. Wah, wah.
Like I'm seriously gonna have to bring an Astros shirt and a Titan shirt just because I don't know what he's gonna show up in at this point. So that's really what it's gonna be about. So
Please bring both. That'll just make my day.
Yeah. Legacy of Nerd is apparently all elite now.
Apparently,
How is London right now, man? Are you getting ready for
Wembley
for this weekend?
Working on your accent?
He's actually Eddie Kingston's secret partner in the stadium staff team. He's gonna come out wearing a Power Rangers outfit, complete with a morpher and everything.
Yes.
Well, as we do with previews, we're going to talk all about this event and make some predictions. And there's a lot. There's, at this point, 10 matches on the card, including one on the buy-in pre-show. And
hopefully 11 because everyone is trying to hashtag Emmy for Wembley because she deserves it.
Yeah.
Still no Raspas over there. That
he should really
they probably go
Photoshop
by a
himself in front of the
different
Wembley
name. They probably
Stadium.
just go by a different name anyway.
Yeah.
All right. First off, on the buy-in pre-show, the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships on the line. Aussie Open defending against MJF and Adam Cole. Baby. How big an event where the two guys in the main event are actually wrestling for a tag team championship in the pre-show for crying out loud?
Apparently, MJF thinks Cole is perverted for making him wrestle twice in one night.
Well, Tommy, where do you think this is going to
go? I can't see Aussie Open losing. Well, I don't know. That could be the swerve of the century, honestly. But I'm gonna say Aussie Open retains. Yeah, but I feel like I feel it's gonna be the most watched pre-show of all time. Like the YouTube might crash, dude. I know that sounds like hyperbole, but I'm actually not kidding. This Cole, I am liking this way more than I thought I would. Like legitimately,
Yeah.
I don't know what magic formula made this work so well, but oh my god, it works. And apparently, the Better Than You Bebe shirt was like their fastest selling shirt of this year. So
I believe
Me
it.
too. All right, so you got Aussie Open. Sean's on there, MJF and Cole. Mike, what about you?
Yeah, maybe I've just been affected by WWE booking for too long, but I feel like you got to go MJF and Cole.
okay, fair enough.
So then your tag team champions are fighting, or your ROH champions are fighting over it. And then when they can't stay together, they'll lose them real easily to whatever tag team they want to put those on, FTR again or whatever. But yeah, I think for this one, you go MJF and Cole.
I'm going Aussie Open, and I look with this whole MJF and Cole thing going. I am back and forth on who's turning on who at this point. I really am.
I'm so confused too. I really don't know.
And I don't know if one of them is going to turn on the other, and I don't know if it's going to happen during the pre-show. I don't know if one's going to do something that they make a mistake and it costs them the titles in this one. Either way, I'm picking Aussie Open to win, but I'm just curious to see how this is going to relate to the main event. What happens in this
really
match?
Don't know.
So.
Yeah.
All right, on to the main card, and Will Ospreay versus Chris Jericho.
But real quick, Burnsy, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely Burnsy.
For sure.
We are there.
Yep. Ospreay versus Jericho. Mike, what do you think about this one?
I'm gonna go with Ospreay. It's in England. Jericho's Jericho. He doesn't need this win, and he said it tonight in a small interview for the contract signing. Once he beats him, he's going to be able to say that he beat Okada, he beat Omega, and he beat Jericho within 2 months.
Ooh.
So,
Yep.
I don't see why you wouldn't.
Yeah, Ospreay for me too. Much like Sean, they're also taking Ospreay again. If you're watching us, want to make your prediction with us, you're watching After the Fact, leave a comment and let us know what you're thinking as we go through these. Tommy, what about you?
I gotta go Ospreay, man. I don't see why. I don't see any logical reason not to. The only reason I'm not mad as Naito, who won the G1 instead of Ospreay, is because Naito going back to the G1 makes sense because it may be one of his last ones, so he deserves it. One more Wrestle Kingdom main event, but Ospreay doesn't really need that. But besides, he said in 6 months his contract's up. He mentioned that, and dude's gonna be money by that point. Yeah. He's one of those guys who really proved he's risen out of the junior heavyweight division, which is nothing wrong with that division. He's proven so he's the main event, proven he can hang with the biggest stars out there, and this will just be another one. But at the same time, though, I feel like this is probably one of Jericho's last hurrahs as well, because even he said it. How big this show is. As he said, it's bigger than any WrestleMania, bigger than any Tokyo Dome for him. It's one of the biggest wrestling crowds ever, and that's actually a factual statement. So I'm going Ospreay, but I think this will be probably one of Jericho's real big moments.
Well, I can't imagine what this is going to mean to Ospreay too. I mean, Wembley Stadium, his home country for sure. So,
well, I mean, storyline wise, of course, they're playing it up, but I'm sure his heart's already racing at the idea of hearing probably whatever awesome UK chant they start for Ospreay. Yeah. I don't even know what it's gonna be, and I'm glad I don't. I want to be surprised because the UK has the best chants. When that if you hate Roman stand up thing is still one of my favorite things of all time. Yeah, when he yelled at them to sit down. That was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen.
All right, 6-man tag: the Golden Elite, Kota Ibushi, Kenny Omega, and Adam Page versus Konosuke Takeshita and Bullet Club Gold, Juice Robinson and Jay White.
Bang bang gang. Anyway,
I think we know where Tommy's going with this one.
Yeah, I just kind of feel it. I don't know if the Golden Elite's going to pull this one out. I got to go Bullet Club with Takeshita.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same for me. Mike, you?
Okay, I thought I was going to be out on the limb here. No, I agree with you guys. Also, I don't know if this is good or bad for AEW, but there's also that looming. There's also All Out the following week.
Yes.
So how many of these matches get rematches or slightly different versions, or does does Takeshita and Bullet Club pull this out with some shenanigans, and then it turns into next week is a hardcore super whatever match and tornado match or whatever.
I hope from this match we get either Omega against Takeshita 1-on-1 finally, or Omega against Jay White 1-on-1 finally, because I think because Omega and Jay White had 1-on-1, but that was way back at the beginning of Jay White's Switchblade days when he was still part of Chaos. I want this Jay White versus Kenny Omega. I want the Jay White who proved he can take a company on his shoulders like he did with New Japan after the Elite left. I want that Jay White versus Kenny Omega because this Jay White's awesome. I mean, that Jay White was pretty cool too.
All right, Sean taking Golden Elite there. So
yeah.
All right, a tag team coffin match: Darby Allin and Sting versus the Mogul Embassy.
This had a slight change to it.
Oh, it did?
Well, so what happened was they had Nick Wayne, the 18-year-old kid, with Darby taking on Swerve and AR Fox. They beat up Nick Wayne for a long time, but he was able to pull out a win and pulled he basically pinned AR Fox.
Okay.
And Darby wound up holding Swerve back. So Swerve got mad and kicked AR Fox out of the embassy, and he got attacked by Brian Cage.
Wow.
But then Darby Allin, because he knows AR Fox and they trained together for a long time, he accepted him back in with them. But then Swerve brought out Christian and Luchasaurus. So apparently it's Swerve and Christian versus Sting and Darby Allin in the coffin match.
Okay.
I feel like you got to go Darby Allin and Sting.
Oh,
because it's Wembley and it's Sting or Wembley, not Wembley. That's Spurs.
I mean,
yeah,
I've
been doing that all this too. So
yeah, I'm obviously going Darby Allin and Sting on this one too. I can't root against or pick against Darby on this one. Tommy?
Yeah, Darby Sting, man, especially because Sting's been saying that this is probably really is his last hurrah. And come on, man, it's Sting in Wembley. Like, come on, he deserves that kind of crowd, man.
I'm afraid to ask how high their second and third levels are.
You might as well ask it. Sting's gonna jump off.
Right.
Darby's like, no, I'll take that jump. No, Sting's like, no, I must do this. He's like, no, you mustn't. Yes, I must. Oh my God, what have I done? I wonder if Darby ever does that. Just what did I do? I did. This is my fault. This is my fault, right? I did this.
All right. Stadium Stampede. Eddie Kingston, Orange Cassidy, the Best Friends, and Penta El Cero Miedo versus Blackpool Combat Club, Santana and Ortiz.
Yeah.
Because you can't have a Stadium Stampede without Santana and Ortiz, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if this is going to be filmed cinematic wise, if they're going to do this live.
I think Tony said they're in the stadium and they're going to try to follow them as best they can.
Wow.
I'm happy.
Amazing.
I mean,
wow.
It would be really hard. I know they've done it in the past, but a couple of them were doing COVID.
Yeah.
And then the other one was the inside version was Anarchy in the Arena, but yeah, as far as I know, because you can't do it like the night before in an empty Wembley. So
yeah, unless they film cinematic wise, who knows? Mike, I think I know where you're picking on this one, so go for it.
You know I got to go Blackpool Combat Club with Pride and Prejudice. So. You know how long it's been since I've been able to call them that? I missed it, man. I feel like this is going to offshoot matches into All Out.
Yeah, actually, I was thinking
like maybe Best Friends or maybe Eddie and someone versus or Santana and Ortiz, and I would assume also, or unless they do the ROH title match with Eddie and Claudio, which I know they're leading to, but I don't know when ROH's next pay-per-view is, so it kind of depends.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm going to go Blackpool and Pride and Prejudice.
Tommy, same for you? Or what are you thinking?
Yeah, actually, same for me. I was on the fence until Santana Ortiz showed up, and then I was like, yeah, no, sorry, I gotta go that route. But I will say, I remember all the rumors and stuff about Santana being very unhappy with AEW at the time and everything. So I don't know if that was true or if he was just injured and he just took him this long to come back. Either way, this is a good thing. So I really hope this is start some more stuff with them. I will see them as tag team champions. I think they'd be great at it. They're just one of my favorite tag teams. And I can't wait to see what they do on a grand stage like this. I'm sure. I kind of want to imagine the conversation with like Santana was like, "Man, I really don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. I'm done. Then Tony Khan calls him, "Hey, so you want to come back?" "No, I told you I'm through. I'm not coming back. We're gonna be at Wembley Stadium for 80,000 people. Okay, maybe this one time, but then we gotta really have a conversation."
Yeah.
Well, there were also rumors that the two of them were not on the same page about what they wanted out of.
I
their
heard
tag
that
team.
too. Yeah. So you never know.
It's kind of good to see them. I mean, so it's good to see them back together
for
at
sure.
least to start with.
Hopefully clear that up too. So I'm
Yeah.
I'm also back full comic club Santana Ortiz. I think that's the right move there. But any way you look at it, Orange Cassidy's still on the march to 1,000 days, and I really hope that hangs so true.
Dude, he's so good. He's so good.
He really is.
Now, a match that was just added, the Trios Championship, House of Black defending against Billy Gunn and the Acclaimed.
Yes.
Because everybody loves the Acclaimed.
And it's interesting because I don't know if y'all saw this. The Acclaimed came out, no rap, anything, called out the House of Black. House of Black came down, started beating him up. Finally, Billy Gunn came back because, maybe about a month ago that he got beat up and left his boots in the ring.
Yeah.
People thought he was getting ready to retire. But it's interesting because he said Daddy Ass is not going to be able to make the trip to England for Wembley. But there is a guy who's going to show up, and it's a badass. And so apparently, in a sense, he's bringing back badass Billy Gunn for this match.
Oh, boy.
Which,
Yeah.
I'll take it.
I wouldn't mind seeing it too. And, I'm sure that's going to be great. I'm sure this is going to be a fun one to watch too. I would love to see how the England crowd responds to the Acclaimed rap. I'm sure they're going. I mean, you're not going to go to Wembley and not rap freestyle or something like that for sure. And yeah, if he brings up Ray Ripley again, we'll see if Buddy Matthews attacks him early again. So.
Especially now that they're engaged.
How are you going to call yourself House of Black with a bunch of white guys? But I think House of Black's going to retain on this one, despite all of that. I think they're, I feel like a real stable's got to beat a stable for this. So I'm going to go with House of Black here. Tommy, what about you?
I have to vehemently disagree and go Billy Gunn and the Acclaim. And also, I would almost argue they've been a stable a little bit longer. So just because they never had an official name with Billy Gunn doesn't mean that he wasn't with them for a long time. So and I say the House of Black because House of Black were a tag team for a long time, but they weren't a 3-person act or 4-person act when you had Julia Hart until Buddy actually came in. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Billy Gunn's another old vet who's getting a huge amount. I'm picking every veteran except Jericho.
All right. Yeah, Mike, what about you?
I'm gonna go with Tommy on this. Right. Let All In be your New Hope, and then All Out can be your Empire Strikes Back, and then all the heels can take that over.
All right,
get all their wins back or whatever.
That'd be hilarious.
But Acclaimed and Billy Gunn, and also like the trios titles, they've been fun with them, but it wouldn't hurt to mix it up a little bit and move on.
I mean, to be fair, they already have them longer than everybody else. They even beat out Death Triangle about what, maybe 2 months ago, a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I would say I don't know how much time Billy Gunn has, but that dude's a freak in shape.
Dude,
so
If Sting is wrestling to his 60s, Billy Gunn's got to go till he's 70, at least, because first of all, he still has abs. I don't, but he does. So
part of me just wants to see Billy Gunn get into the well, I can't move as well as I did, but I can jump off things like Sting.
Yeah.
And then when he gets 60, he start calling Sting. How'd you jump off that one thing? Okay.
Just go.
All right, cool. That's I can do that. Yeah, sure. And he jumps off something. Tony Khan's looking. Damn it, he called Sting, didn't he? Yeah, he called. Darby, it wasn't me this time, I swear.
All right. Real World Championship.
Ooh.
CM Punk versus Samoa Joe. These battles were legendary in the Ring of Honor days, and I know Tommy is loving this.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
I'm going with CM Punk though, because if I'm not mistaken, Samoa Joe got the upper hand when all those battles between them were all said and done. But with what they're doing right now with this, I never lost my title. This is the real world championship. It makes sense for Punk to win this one here. So I'm going with CM Punk. Mike, what about you?
No, same. You gotta keep him strong for that eventual match with Omega
Yeah.
when they finally clear everything up. So
All right, and Tommy.
Yeah, I gotta go Sam Punk as well because, yeah, because they had the 2 hour hour matches to a draw. When they fight the final match of the trilogy, Joe finally did pin Punk definitively, and then they have this one coming up. So yeah, no, I gotta go Punk because it just seems like it'll make sense.
All right. The AEW Tag Team Championship, FTR defending against the Young Bucks. The hard one, isn't it? I mean, everybody can't decide. So
no, it's hard because of this reason. I don't know if Tommy or you guys might agree, or you both might agree. I feel like the Young Bucks, even though supposedly they haven't officially been EVPs for a while, as like part of the creators of AEW, are gonna want to push to win this match because it's the big show.
right.
What?
But I'm sorry, right now FTR is clearly the better tag team
Yeah.
and has been for a little bit. So I'm gonna go with FTR and hope that common sense wins out.
All right, Tommy.
Yeah, I'm gonna go FTR.
All right.
I think I'm pretty sure this is the rubber match between them. Yeah, it is. I was just double checking that. Yeah, I don't have it in me to pick against them. I'm gonna go FTR.
Yeah, same for me. I was back and forth on this one a lot, thinking about it all day. But
Yeah.
and part of it too is some of the legal troubles that have come about for one of the members of FTR too. Is that going to come into play too a bit? But
Well, so far he hasn't been told not to go anywhere. So
Yeah,
yeah.
Khan said doesn't appear like it'll affect it right now. So
All right, just even then, it's not affecting his travel, obviously. I mean, they haven't outright fired or suspended him or nothing like that, but that does hang over the head a bit. Are they just gonna just get the title off him or something? So, um, but I'm
now
cautious.
that'll happen at All Out. So
Yeah, I'm going with FTR for this one for sure. I mean, they've been such a dominant tag team; it's hard to pick against them. So,
also, I know it's not funny to laugh at, but all the memes that came out that day
oh god, yeah,
after that announcement,
yo, the internet is vicious.
it is.
FTR joining Bullet Club and all that stuff. So
All right, AEW Women's Championship, Hikaru Shida defending against Tony Storm, Saraya, and Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. It's kind of a scramble. It's one fall to finish.
I think
Mike,
it's
do
one
you
fall
need the
to a
dice for
finish.
this one? Yeah. Do you need the die for this one, Mike, or no?
no,
Okay.
no, not this. Look, this is just a 4-way. This is not on Impact
All
level
right.
by any means. Again, going back to my theme of let this be a new hope.
Mhm.
You got to go with Saraya in England. Give her that moment. I know Tony Storm is also she's Australian, right? Wait,
Actually, let me.
She's Aussie. She's
She's
Aussie.
New Zealand. She's from New
Okay.
Zealand. Yeah.
or New Zealand, yeah. So, yeah. The I don't know. The women's title has been kind of weird up until this point because Britt had it, and then for a while, and then they wound up with Tony, and then or Jamie Hayter, and then it went to Tony. But it was always stuck in this Outcast versus Britt and her friends little feud.
Mhm.
So it was kind of nice to get it on Hikaru Shida, but I'm just afraid that it's not meant to be kept on her very long. So I'm going to go with Saraya for the moment in Wembley.
All right, Tommy.
I'm sticking with Sheeta. I don't give a damn because after all, Because look, I am one of the sing the praises of the heroes of the pandemic era. She held that belt throughout the pandemic and everything, and now she, after leaving Japan and all this stuff, gets to perform in front of the biggest crowds of all time. Let her win the damn match. Besides, Saraya's a bad guy in right now anyway. So she let the flip.
Oh, you're not wrong about any of that, but
It is her home
show
country.
show me an American wrestling company that has used Japanese Joshi wrestlers well and consistently. I'll wait.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I will too because I can't name one.
Yeah.
NXT.
Who? Yeah.
Oscar.
Kinda.
It's as close as I can get, dude.
And then what did the main roster do once they?
Shot her straight to hell.
Give me somebody who's probably going to wait for somebody to finish to throw him out and get the pin. I'm going with Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, to reclaim the championship.
We are not at all.
We're not at all. It's hard to pick the women when it's
Which means by our luck, it's going to be Tony Storm.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No,
First three-time champion.
For all we know, she might actually get the pin or rob Saraya of a win and just rein in the boos from the crowd, which would be epic, But yeah, I'm going with Britt Baker to win this one. So finally, the AEW Championship, MJF defending against his best friend Adam Cole, baby. I'll start this off by saying this. I don't know who the hell is backstabbing who. And I know that stuff ever since the Adam Cole hug, the hand gesture, the same one that he gave was Roderick Strong in NXT. I don't know if Adam Cole is turning. Is he bringing back the Undisputed Era, maybe under a different name, under the AEW side of things to help him win the title? Is MJF turning on Adam Cole? Is nobody turning? Are they kind of pseudo turning on each other and not realizing? I have no idea where this one is going, and I have never been more split on a pick in my entire life. This one, yes, is literally a coin flip to the point that, yes, I do have a coin here. So I can't decide on this one, and I'm just curious to know what they're going to do. So heads, it's MJF, and tails, it's Adam Cole. Baby, you ready?
Here we go.
It is heads, so I'm going to go with MJF.
Okay.
But whatever they're setting up, whoever wins this one, I'm curious to know when they're going to be taking on CM Punk. That is my next question out of this one, because that's
that's my question.
Yeah. But I'm going with MJF. Unless some crazy shit happens during the next couple of days, I doubt it. Mike, what about you?
I feel like ideally, what needs to happen is they try to turn on each other at the same time. And then
That'd be great.
They're almost so proud of each other that they then hug each other again. Because they're like, we're on the same page. We really are brothers. But I think in the end, MJF's going to come out with it. I kind of want Cole. I mean, I kind of want Cole to win. But I just feel like they're going to leave it on MJF for a while. Maybe for that, like you said, to go back to Punk and do the Who's the Real Champion.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's going to stay on MJF.
All right. And Tommy?
Yeah, I'm going to go MJF because I feel like they're going to have some, I really do feel like it's going to be him and Punk sooner or later. Also, I feel like all this is he's going to hold on to it to help the bidding war 2024, which he already confirmed with me is business is great. So that's my favorite quote from that. It was like, you could tell he couldn't say much. He was like, business is great, man.
This is just really great. Yeah. So, all right. That is our predictions, our thoughts on what is going to happen at AEW All In. So how can you watch it? Well, beauty for you guys, it is a Sunday midday pay-per-view. So go to church, get out, come home, watch wrestling. AEW All In, Sunday, August 27th at noon Central Time. Buy-in starts at 11. Going to be taking place at Wembley Stadium in London, England, and will be available through Bleacher Report in the U.S. for $50. That is your price. So
Nice.
buy it once, own it forever through Bleacher Report. So, like I said, yeah, good Sunday lunchtime. So T and I are trying to figure out, okay, when are we going to be able to get this? My dad's watching the kids at night. Can we go pick them up, come back and watch this? We're trying to figure all that stuff out right now. So, yeah. So, Sunday, AEW All In. Those are the details there. And happening later on that evening is Impact Emergence.
Real quick before we move on to
Yeah,
that,
what's up?
can we just mention the petty of WWE going, look, we sold 90,000 WrestleMania tickets. Isn't that crazy?
Oh, Lord.
90,000. 2 nights. 90,000. That's more than All In.
My thing is, oh my God, just let them have this.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise, Vince.
Have you met Vince? Well, not personally,
No.
but have you seen Vince
That's
McMahon
true.
in the history of ever?
Well, it's the same thing with diehard WWE fans who are really getting on my nerves too with this. It's like, well, it's like, dude, can we let wrestling win this weekend as it's clearly doing? This thing sold out like 70,000 tickets for a match was announced. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Can we just be happy that wrestling is doing well? Good Lord.
That's all I would need, yeah.
Yeah.
Impact Emergence. We're not going to make picks on it, but some matches I do want to call out here. The Impact Digital Media Championship, Kenny King versus Johnny Swinger, Sonata versus Jake Something, Time Machine and Josh Alexander versus Bully Ray, Brian Myers, Moose, and Leo Rush, which seems to stand out here.
So Time Machine is Motor City Machine Guns with Kushida,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
just making sure.
What was it? Knockouts Tag Team Championship, MK Ultra versus the Shantaraj versus the Death Dolls versus the Coven.
Thank you for not making me pick that, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Subculture defending the Tag Team Championship against the Rascals. And the main event, the Knockouts Championship, Trinity against Deonna Purrazzo. And a match that has just been added, and one that I am low-key really looking forward to this one. It is a back-to-school match between Frankie Kazarian and Eddie Edwards. Now,
What?
I don't know the stipulation of this back-to-school match, but it needs to start with a pencil fight. They need to each have a pencil in the ring. Remember those old school hold a pencil?
Yes.
That's how the match has to start, flat out.
Look, although, Tommy, and I think you'll agree with me, with all due respect to Eddie Edwards and Frankie
I know
Kazarian,
you're going.
I don't think they're going to come close to the playground match, which kind of seems like a similar theme.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was thinking, sorry guys, we've already seen that this summer, and it kind of ruled. So you got to work pretty hard to beat Eric Walker and David Kidd. Meanwhile, they're saying, who are those guys? Well, let me tell you.
I do like your idea, though, JC. If you're going to do it, you got to do some pencil fights.
What other you're their teacher? What other random stuff do students do as like a friendly little competition?
Well, honestly, they don't really do pencil fights anymore.
Because it's mechanical pencils now, you know. I mean, go old school, get some Ticonderoga, see who battles it out, you know.
Well, no, I mean they still use pencils, but they just don't break them with each other for the most part.
Yeah.
What are little things they do? I don't know. They're on their phones.
Bottle
most
flip
of the
challenge,
time,
maybe
so-
they're bottle flip challenging each other to see who gets that, you know. It's just they got to do some sort of stuff like that just to like pop the crowd, you know.
Yeah.
So
I just hope they all wear like brand new gear and they're like, look, first day of school, it's my new gear.
No, they're gonna bring dodgeballs and just hurl them at each other as far as
I'm
they
okay
can.
with
that
that.
could work too. Yeah.
That sounds
So,
good.
oh my gosh, yeah. So I don't know what exactly
Street
this
fight,
entails.
maybe?
I mean, I imagine it's a street fight with school supplies. That's really what my thought is on this one. So
Hey, look, some of those geometry school supplies, you know, you get a compass to the face, that's deadly.
I mean,
Yeah.
if it's a calculus textbook,
I was
whether it's
gonna
AB or
say,
BC,
look, if you get hit with a textbook, if I ever get hit with a textbook, I'm suing somebody because that's assault with a deadly weapon. I don't give a hell. I don't give a damn. So
Sadly, most of them are digital nowadays, but
yeah.
but still, okay. If you hit me with an iPad, I'm still suing.
But yeah, those are the matches announced to it. Now, this one, of course, is like a week after Multiverse, but they were smart enough to put this literally the same day as All In, so you can watch this one Sunday night. Where's my traffic here? Sunday night, August 27th, 7 p.m. Central Time, and this one is exclusively on Impact Plus. No pre-show on this one. The Impact Plus shows are usually right at 7 o'clock, right at the start time, and this one is taking place at the Rebel Entertainment Complex in Toronto, Canada. But these Impact Plus shows, with not a whole lot happening title change wise at Multiverse, we potentially could see something happen. And I'm not I don't know if Trinity's going to drop to Deonna Purrazzo. I don't know if they're going to build something from here. But it's a real possibility, especially without being a main event.
I don't know if it would go all the way up to the knockouts. I
Mhm.
think maybe some of the smaller titles might.
Yeah.
You know, the Digital Media Championship, which still a little upset that Joe Hendry lost
Yeah.
Here.
originally, but you know that one maybe the knockouts tag team. MK Ultra is Masha and
Killer Kelly.
Killer Kelly,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Do you know who the Shaw entourage is?
Giselle
Giselle
Shaw,
Shaw, yeah.
Savannah Evans.
Oh, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Death Dolls, Courtney Rush, and Jessica Havoc.
Yeah,
and
the last two I
yeah.
know.
So,
And the Coven.
Again,
Kyler King and-
thank you for not making me pick this because this.
well, if
this
you were gonna pick it-
nope, we're not picking it, so I'm not going to do this. You're not going to make me do this. Nope, I'm not doing this.
Tommy, when was the last time you visited the alternate universe?
Yeah.
In my imagination, more often than I'm going to admit to you.
We're still alive.
Yeah.
And I said what I said. So.
All right, and with that, we'll move into our 1 minute warning segment here. Mike, do you have something this week?
Yeah.
All right. Whenever you're ready, set and go.
So take this all as rumor, of course, because it's just kind of been building steam on social media and stuff. But there is a lot of talk that Edge is not so much retiring, but finishing up with WWE, and is going to make a move to AEW to legitimately finish his career with Christian. Which, you know, if that's what he wants to do, I think that's super cool because obviously Edge and Christian were best friends since they were like in high school, and they were such a big part of each other's career. But I find that kind of interesting as the back and forth between AEW and WWE, and you know, kind of increases and kind of connected to that. Apparently, they're starting to get a little more unhappiness in the locker room of WWE as the merger officially comes soon to become official, and you know Vince McMahon continues to hold that power. You know, the past couple weeks and months, there were times where you saw that he was influencing, but he wasn't normally on or at the shows. Apparently, a lot of it was coming like Zoom calls. He was calling in stuff, but I think it's interesting to keep an eye on because you remember what it was like last year when he was gone. Triple H took over. The show really felt fresh. They were bringing back some people, and it's not fully gone back to Vince McMahon, but you see it kind of ebb and flow in times. Where sometimes it's real consistent and sometimes it's just not. So,
All right. That'd be interesting. I wouldn't mind seeing Christian Cage and Sexton Hardcastle team up again. You know, that would be.
Dude, oh my God, I was trying to remember what his name was back then. I was sitting there thinking, damn it, what was his name? And I meant to look it up as he was talking about.
He has to show up like that, just as a little nod to his career. I mean,
But-
I love that because I was just simply thinking, what's Adam Copeland doing in the
Dude,
All
do
In?
you know how many times
Actually,
people have
can you
said,
imagine Shivani? What is Sexton Hardcastle doing here? You know,
but people have been putting corner, 90-degree angle,
Yes.
and like I had all people on my Facebook just doing that. I was like, I said, whoever made the graphic and it said corner,
Okay.
I said needs to be sat down.
I got to admit that took me a few more seconds than I would like to admit. I was like, corner, what? God,
Yeah. But you know what? I honestly thought this was just people making that up. But the more I hear, it's like, are you serious? Could this really happen?
The interesting last one I saw was specifically that Edge basically, because his contract is apparently legitimately coming up, and he had like, if you want me to re-sign for another year or whatever, there's a few things he would like, and that they didn't agree to them.
And I'm trying to figure out
Basically.
what could he possibly have asked they've said no to. That's my thing.
probably him working other promotions. I mean, think about his career. Has he ever gone to Japan? Has he ever gone to, you know, some sort of like that sort of thing? Or
No, but I feel like Edge has been in WWE long enough to know there's a fat chance of that, but maybe. I don't know.
Maybe he's shooting a shot. Who knows? I mean, at least if he goes to AEW, he has a chance to do something like that. You know, there's a lot of talent. I'm sure he would have loved to wrestle. Now that he's healthier to do that. So,
Yeah.
Tommy, you got something this week?
Actually, I don't. I was sitting here thinking, but no, I think
Now the G1's over.
Yeah.
Say again. Well, yeah.
The G1's over,
G1's
too.
over. I got nothing to say until December. So you know, just
Right.
no, but I'm good.
I don't do this a whole lot, but I mean, we have a little group chat, as you guys know. We're going to talk about what we want to do on the show. But I forget who was it posted. I think Mike posted it. Like, gave us some potential contracts to sign. Which one would we choose? There was like WWE developmental for 3 years, however much money, whatever. The one we all easily chose was an 8-year contract with New Japan Pro Wrestling as a main event talent because of the main event status. If they would offer to me, because I would love to go over Okada 8 years in a row at Wrestle Kingdom. I would just fucking love that. I would bring in Toriano into the Bullet Club. He'd be my right-hand man for sure to be a part of that too. So, and then of course Tommy made the comment in there something like, Okada would leave after the 4th year. I go, yeah, because he would lose a loser leaves Japan match. I'm sorry to spoil that for you guys. I know it's our group chat, but I had to share that because it was so fucking hilarious. I just couldn't. We just spun that off there that way. Anytime I can have a little New Japan fun time with Tommy is great. And book it. Toriano and Okada, Wrestle Kingdom. It's fucking 5-star match with a little Jeff Cobb thrown in there too. So
yes, please. So let me just throw one thing in about that picture that really disheartened me. Was the AEW contract had more money, but it was like, but you're only a mid-carder and you're trained or in a group of QT Marshall.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Why? Like, with all due respect to QT Marshall, but what was the one? Was it the firm or the factory? Right,
the factory.
The factory.
It was the factory. He did. Yeah.
I don't think any of those guys have really moved on to.
I mean, I know if there was the mid-carder, but you're in a stable, Mike would have been, I'm in Blackpool Combat Club. Let me be there.
Yeah.
One of their guys mid-card.
Yeah, I'll be I'll take all the losses in the matches,
exactly.
Man.
I would take that deal because Wheeler Yuta still wrestled Shibata. I'm in. I don't give a damn.
Mike, if you still have that pictures, if you want to share that on the WrestleCast Twitter or Instagram, that would be great. Just
I'll maybe do it on those. That was funny, and there was also an ROH and an Impact one. Mm-hmm. Obviously, less money. Some of them weren't as bad, but like I just felt like the AEW had the least like attractive like the thing because like you said, like the New Japan one was like you become the leader of Bullet Club. That was like the special. Thing. You're like main eventer, and you become
main eventer, 8 years, money, and I'm like, hey.
Well, see, I think the thing is like if you look at it from some guys' perspective, like I'll be a jar with QT if I get paid that much. I don't give a damn anymore. So.
Sure. Like, I mean, if it's gonna be a what if, man, let's make it.
Yeah.
Ooh.
At least part of a fun group, like so.
All right. Before we wrap up the show, I do want to. Mike, you wanted to talk a bit about CadaverCon. We're promoting this because this happened.
Yeah, we're gonna just do this real quick every show to remind you until it actually happens. But at the end of September, you see there's September 29th or October 1st, CadaverCon down in Portland, Texas. Which for those of you who aren't sure, it's out there near Corpus, heading down that way. Tommy, I know you know there's a whole bunch of Power Rangers.
Yes, anime voice actors and
anime voice actors. Star Wars, you see there some of the people that portrayed the Jawas and R2 in the thing. Geeks are going to be super involved with it. They're going to be doing a bunch of the panels, if not most of the panels. Apparently, they're going to be able to interview a bunch of these people. I think one of our friends, Jose, whose YouTube channel is General Kenobi's Bunker, so it's a Star Wars-based one, is one of the judges for the cosplay contest. And then Legacy of Nerd, who's been in here a bunch with us. He went to the Mission Pro show.
Yes, he did.
A couple weeks with us. He is actually being presented as like a special guest. Because honestly, all jokes aside, his Power Ranger channel, Legacy of Nerd, has grown really huge in that community.
Yes.
And he's starting to be considered like a top content creator for Power Rangers based stuff. And it's not the only thing, but it's kind of his specialty. And you also see up there, like we've talked about the cosplay contest. And then he said that there may be a discount coming soon. So we'll keep, if it does, we'll throw it out there for y'all. But at Mission Pro, I passed out some of these things along with WrestleCast stickers. And same thing at Hybrid. I want to say this as nicely as possible because I mean it with love. But there are so many of the hybrid students and people that this seems right up their alley.
Yeah.
So we were handing them out to a bunch while we were leaving some of the people working the table, and they actually seemed real excited about it and stuff like that. So yeah, so again, all the geek family is going to be well involved with that. We're hoping that we get to be a part of it. It kind of depends on our schedule. But yeah, so CadaverCon as always, keep an eye on that, and we'll keep reminding you up until the event.
For sure.
Yep.
All right, and thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the Countdown City WrestleCast. Next week, we will recap AEW All In. We'll recap Impact Emergence. And we'll have 2 more pay-per-views to preview. It's been a busy few weeks, and it's going to continue. WWE Payback and AEW All Out. We're going to be talking all about that.
Is that a Saturday, Sunday thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, All Out is Sunday.
Labor Day weekend.
Payback is Saturday. Hard to believe 5 years ago when they asked Cody Rhodes was talking about, and Vince actually was willing to help, give any pointers he had on promoting an independent pay-per-view. And when he chose Labor Day weekend as a weekend, one of the first things Vince said was, September's a horrible month. We never drew in September. Well, now it's become a prime weekend for wrestling.
Huh.
Yeah.
Weird how a WWE pay-per-view showed up all of a sudden.
Yeah, suddenly.
Weird.
Amazing stuff here. So, pretty awesome though for AEW. All in Wembley, All Out back in Chicago. This is going to be an amazing few weeks of wrestling, and I'm looking forward to it. So, yeah. Thank you everyone for joining us. We do appreciate it. Over here, we got Tommy.
Thanks, guys.
We got Mike.
Thanks, guys. Be good to each other.
And I'm JC. And as always, heels and baby faces, remember, pro wrestling is real.
People are fake.
Reach for the sky, boy.
We'll see you next week.
Adios, Cooper.